Welcome to the movie order, and today I'm going to be discussing Aquaman in full spoilers. So I had the fortunate chance to see this film at an advanced fan screening, but it was also unfortunate because besides the directing and visuals, this film has really nothing going for it. Again, full spoilers, but I'm going to attempt to find 3 good things about the film, and then I'll say my 3 bad things. So first up is the visuals. For those saying that Infinity War has great visuals, or that movies like Ready Player One has great visuals, their visuals are only good compared to this film. James Wan really took his time to make sure that this film looks amazing. Every frame has something glorious to see, and this movie takes CG and special effects to another level. And I think this is one of the strengths of the DCEU, is that their visual effects have really been utilized to 105%. It is spectacular to watch. Now for the first bad is Arthur Curry, and not just him, but by extension Jason Momoa. It essentially seems like Jason Momoa is playing himself, not Arthur. I know he's supposed to be the fun one while everyone else is serious, but it doesn't fit the tone for me. It's too off-putting. That, and it seems like Arthur is just experiencing the film like we are, while every other character in the film, mainly Mara, make the plot happen around him. She saves him 2 or 3 times in the film just to get the plot going. I knew when she saved him from his fight in Orn because he was losing, because he lost his trident, but she saved him more, and that she'll take him to the next part, and essentially she is the real MVP of the film. But a second good thing is James Wan. Typically he uses one takes to create a tense atmosphere, but in here he used it to keep you inside the action. We saw some scenes in the trailer, but early on Nicole Kidman's character gets a one take fight sequence that lasts like a minute or 2 in a small lighthouse, and it was pretty darn good. And then almost every fight or action scene that happens have a lot of one take sequences in them. I really like it because it's not just quick cuts that look like doubles, like it looked like these guys were actually fighting. It's terrific directing, and apart from a few moments, the camera is always moving and trying to give us a scope, a sense of epicness. Now for the second bad part is the pacing. This is a really fast movie. Like most scenes barely last a few minutes before we're on to another scene. Each scene is a dialogue scene, and then an action scene, and repeat. It's like this for most of the movie. Not that a fast-paced film is bad, but it just whizzes by. About halfway in the film, Arthur is hurt by Black Manta and Mara is just looking worried. Then it cuts right to them on a boat, and he's fine again. And then they talk for a minute, and they're at the next scene. There's no breathing room or real sense of danger when the character is fine in the very next scene. And with the pacing, it just feels like a lot of this didn't need to happen, or shouldn't have happened in general. Again, as previously mentioned, there is no reason for Arthur to get hurt. If he was going to be fine, the only reason really was for him to realize that his actions have indirect reactions to them later on. Breathing room is always important, and I feel like this film needed to take a step back and maybe get rid of 1 or 2 subplots that weren't really necessary. Now the third good thing is the score. Aside from a few random songs that start randomly that interrupts the actual score and screw up the emotion, which I think again connects to the pacing problem, but this score is kind of epic and matches the visuals. During the action, it's very whimsical. It's not your typical action score, kind of like Indiana Jones, but it's its own thing. It sounds kind of like the Tron soundtrack, but with extra whimsy in it and electronics, and it's very catchy and elevates the scenes and the movie as a whole really well. Now for the third bad thing, I'm just going to lump everything kind of into here because I feel like while Mara does a lot of the heavy lifting here, and she's not a damsel in distress, but they make her a secondary character because I know Arthur's to be king, but I'd rather watch her do stuff because she's a much better, much more rounded, and I feel like I know her more than I know Arthur, who decides he doesn't want to be a king despite having years and years of training, and then just be a superhero on land, and then randomly decides halfway through that yes, he wants this. So I feel like her arc was more concise. It was there was a follow through with her character. Black Manta was also easily defeated. He doesn't even battle Aquaman to begin with. His dad dies and he wants revenge. He gets Atlantean armor. He uses Atlantean armor, barely scratches. He didn't kick into the ocean until a mid-credit scene. And there's still like 45 minutes left of the film. All his arc really did was fluff the runtime just a bit. And Orn wasn't really a villain either. He's kind of like how Grindelwald was in Fantastic Beasts 2, where They do a lot of stuff, they say a lot of stuff, but his lackeys do more damage overall. Even in the final battle, you see creatures of the deep doing more until he has to have his, quote unquote final battle with Aquaman. And we'll most definitely see him again because James Wan loves Patrick Wilson, and Patrick Wilson's character, Orn, aka Ocean Master, survives this film. And I just think a lot of this has to do with scripting issues, such as how Aquaman's backstory is spread throughout the first half of the film randomly, so we still have an origin story. So I don't understand why they did that. I understand every movie wants an origin story without actually telling one, but the way it transitions, it looks cool until you realize this happens like 5 times in a row, and it's just kind of annoying after a while. Now, I enjoyed this film more than some recent films just because it's a really good popcorn flick, but it's only slightly better than Justice League and Suicide Squad for me, and those movies are really low on my comic book movie list. It's 3 out of 10 for me. If you're looking for a popcorn movie with cool visuals and a soundtrack that you could jam out to, this movie is for you. But if you're looking for a competent and non-formulaic story that has riveting characters and motivations, then this might be an issue for you. I wouldn't really recommend it, but some might like it. So